Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Alliance. Of course, I'm your host, Clay, and with me, like always, of course, is Katie. Katie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. You know what? I'm doing okay. I passed a work project off to somebody else because I finished my portion, so I'm happy. Happy camper.
Isn't that just like the best feeling ever when you can just
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, I'm done with this. Like, I can breathe. I am good day, you know? So I have seen Abby do that a ton with her job lately. And she has kind of had a sigh of relief, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
Um, but to jump right into this, I want to go ahead and let everybody know we are not going to be talking about the Hunt for Ben Solo stuff because there's just not a whole lot that was added to the conversation. Um, of course, there has been a lot of tongue in cheek stuff that people are seeing Adam Driver kind of doing. Of course, with the pinball machine photo that was recently taken and all of that. We want more information to be able to actually have a conversation about it rather than just naming one or two things that happened. Um, so we will push that off to the side and we're going to go right into our main topic tonight, which of course is part one of our Visions Volume 3 deep dive. The three episodes we will be tackling today, of course, is The Song of Four Winds, The Bounty Hunters, and Black. So, Katie, which one do you want to tackle first?
I think we need to book into this. So, guys, the Song of Four Wings and Bounty Hunters were Clay's and my tops of this volume of visions. So that's why we're tackling them kind of first, and then Black kind of being our least favorite. I think we need to
Yeah,
book in with some positivity. So I think Black needs to go in the middle.
I think that is best. So which of our favorites do we want to talk about first?
Well, I got Song of Four Wings and Bounty Hunter at the top because they kind of split my notes page in my planner. So either
Well, if
one.
we go in order of release on the actual Disney Plus page, The Song of Four Winds is first.
It is
Um,
wings.
what did I say?
Wins.
Did I say wins?
You keep
Sorry.
saying wins.
The Song of Four Wings, excuse me, it's my favorite episode of this season. You would think that I would get the title correct.
I
Um,
know.
so the Song of Four Wings, oh man, and the Wikipedia has like a really cool. I wish that like these little borders would not pop up when you click on something for
So apparently, if you create an account, you can get rid of ads. So I just now saw that pop up.
oh really?
So I think I'm going to be doing that to get rid of the ads.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, the photo that is actually on the Wikipedia page is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love this.
I love that photo. Um, so this episode follows a uh, young princess by the name of, I'm trying to get the pronunciation.
Krane?
Kurane. Kurane
Kurane.
is
Okay.
the pronunciation, but it is not like it's very ironic the way that you spell Kurane
Oh,
because
yeah.
it is crane. Um, the crane, of course, plays very well into our other character, who is uh, Woopus,
Whoopus.
who is the survivor of this attack on this random village. Um, but we are introduced to this princess as she is driving a speeder on some sort of like snowy range with her uh droid unit, her R9TR2. Um, but her nickname for TR2 is Tor2, which I think is kind of cute.
Yes.
Um, we have a Mon Calamari who is also introduced.
And
Uh,
he wears a scarf. Y'all, I didn't notice he wore a scarf
I didn't notice
until
until the second time I watched it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's hysterical.
But there's a little bit of a back and forth. We kind of get like some sort of idea of this version of the Star Wars galaxy, um, that uh, Kurane is a princess but doesn't like the title anymore because those days are behind them. She doesn't have
Very
a.
much a Princess Leia story kind
Mhm.
of adaptation. Her planet was destroyed. Her country, her planet no longer exists for
Yeah.
her to rule. So she kind of goes along with the hey, like let's leave the past behind us because and like forget about it. Because she doesn't want to dwell in her grief basically.
Yeah. Yeah. But we learned that Tor 2 is a very special royal droid that she does not want to get rid of because it is the only droid that can play her music.
Yep.
Um, I thought this was very fun. Um,
I did love the integration of the music in this. It
mhm.
feels very natural going, I enjoy music. I'm going to have a droid that plays music. My droid's going to play my music. Like I kind of dig that and I love that it's actually it looks like a cassette
Yeah.
um versus having something newfangled and everything. It felt kind of Easter eggy in
Yeah,
a
you
certain
could
way.
very easily we will be talking about another Easter egg next week. Um a little bit of a homage, if you will, next week.
Not next
But
week, the week after.
oh, you're right. You're right. It is a week after. So with this, you're right. They could have very easily put like some sort of CD or a thumb drive looking thing or something very like alien to the Star Wars universe. It could have very easily been created for this. The fact that they use a cassette tape, I think, is a little nod to like, hey, this was made in the 70s. What was really big in the 70s? Cassette tapes.
Yeah. And I definitely love too that we actually got an opening crawl with this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the few, if not the only Visions episode that has an opening crawl
Yes.
associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just goes to harken back to kind of feeling Empire Strikes Back almost.
Yep. Very much so.
Um, The one thing that I forgot about that's in my notes is I wanted us to do a non-spoiler review, which is kind of a little late because we delved into spoilers, but that
Yeah.
way we could hopefully use that and post that on social media for you guys for like a general summary type
Yeah.
thing. I don't know if you want to do that or not.
Yeah, in that case, I will go ahead and just really quickly jot down the time right now. And we'll, you guys that are listening to this, uh, well, watching it live, you can see all this. You guys listening, well, you're not even going to hear this part because I'm just going to cut it all out. So, let's
Sorry,
go
it was
ahead.
at the bottom of my notes.
No, totally understandable. So let's go ahead and jump right into the non-spoiler talks of the Song of Four Wings. Ha!
There you
I
go.
got it
Good
right this
job.
time. Got it right. Okay. So, of course, we spoke briefly about this when we actually talked about our rankings. Um, This is by far my favorite. It has a special piece of anime genre that is just so silly and near and dear to my heart just because it was a part of my childhood, and that is the magical girl transformation. And this is non spoilers. I'm not going to be talking about the actual details of that, but it's a part of that genre. So you're
Mhm.
kind of, for people who are listening to this now, you kind of already know what you're jumping into with this, which is perfect because when you look at a poster or look at the characters, it's not what you would expect. So you're like, oh, how do we
Yeah.
get there? So I think that is very very cool. Uh, I love the animation of this episode. I love the sound design. The voice acting is top notch on both because I watched this both in English and in Japanese. Really great voice acting on both ends. And I think that with a lot of these, having a kind of hey, will there be a next time kind of ending, I think this is one of those episodes that I'm really hoping, like, hey, maybe we can come back to this. Whether that be in a book, in a comic, in a audio original, whatever it may be, I think this is one of those perfect stories for that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with everything you said. I think this one still is not like my top. I think Bounty Hunter still remains my top. But I love how this episode is full of joy, hope, and heartbreak for both main characters involved. Um, and I really enjoy how the Song of Four Wings manages the choice and faith version of Star Wars versus Destiny. Like there's a lot of choice in what Karane is choosing to do. But she also talks about faith in her destiny and realizing that hey, I'm here for a different purpose. And I think that is really enjoyable in a storytelling format. Um and especially not having the Jedi president here. Yes. Oh, like I think it's a top tier story because it manages to focus on the little guy
Yeah.
versus
And I don't think that's
having big
really a
drama.
spoiler for the fact that, like, you can't expect all of these stories because we've seen in the past, from volumes 1 and 2, that not everything is going to be uh, a force user, a Jedi. It's
Yep.
supposed to be just a niche, you know, what if Star Wars story for
Yeah.
this independent studio. So,
Yeah. I think Project Studio Q does a really good job with it. We hadn't mentioned them yet, but as a reminder, they did the twins in the first volume, and that was another story that I really enjoyed. So I think they knocked it out of the park with this second iteration in their storytelling.
yeah, very much so. I agree. Now, going into our spoilers, um, when we pick up where Tortu is picking up a distress call, um, I what did when you first watched this, Katie? What were you expecting?
It felt very reminiscent of hey, there's a survivor. So it kind of felt like it was going to lean into that direction, especially from Karane and the admiral discussion on reconnaissance and trying to figure out why the empire was there. So I felt like Whoopus coming in as the survivor um was super cool. And I do love the integration of origami um,
Mm-hmm.
into this story. Like, we know George Lucas took several things from Japanese mythology and history, So integrating that is I was like, yes, when that came on the screen for the first time, those cranes.
Hmm.
And hearing Karane tell the story of the mythical deity that the Gagorans have, I loved that integration as well
Hmm.
because
Giving a little bit
it
of
shows she
backstory.
cared about the planet, and then the Gagoran race and stuff that was involved. Like she knew why she was there on the planet and wanted to do her research about the culture and everything.
Yeah. Um, I will be honest. When I first watched this, on my very first watch, I was not expecting the like next best thing compared to Grogu. Um, I I was expecting a team or a child or you know
Technically, is a child.
technically is a child. But I guess this is more so like my ignorance in, or at least falling into ignorance of what we kind of see all the time with Star Wars is we don't see enough aliens. So I was not expecting this cute furball thing. But when
Which
I
is
did,
the Gagoran is an actual species in Star Wars, by the way. So we
yes.
did get. I was not aware of that, but I looked it up, and there actually are a current species and everything. So because like I did like how Project Studio Q chose to reuse things from canon, but also change some things up, like reusing coaxium, which I know we're not at that part yet. But I
Hmm.
appreciated like it feels like every new Star Wars element, we have a different way to say hyperfuel and a different element that can be used to generate hyperfuel. So reusing coaxium, I know this isn't canon, guys, don't keep me wrong, but I just appreciated, hey, we're going to reuse this instead of
Well, no,
adding
it's
something
just
new.
the fact that this isn't the episode we're gonna talk about that particular episode, but the episode that is titled Yuko's Treasure. We talked about it when we were talking about rankings. The fact that
Yep.
they use Tatooine and the way that Tatooine is canonically like seen or
Yeah.
and stuff like that, it has a sense of like reminiscence and nostalgia. So having that here in this episode, I think was very helpful. Also, Gagorans, um, for people who don't know, they are like the abominable snowman type of looking thing. They have quite a few appearances in Young Jedi Adventures. Uh, I don't remember any Gagorans in Young Jedi
I
Adventures.
don't either. I was like
I'll,
that too.
I'll have to go. I'll have to go back and see if I spot them. But I really dug the use of because that was one of my highlights when ranking uh the AT-ATs.
Yep.
Um, the fact that like we see them burst out of the snow for one thing
Yeah.
was absolutely insane. Like I don't know what I was expecting. Like for like TIE fighters and speeders to just start flying out and trying to chase Kurane and Whoopas, yeah, that would be the normal thing to see. But the fact that they were able to surprise the audience by having these giant monstrosities burst out of the snow, I think is so much cooler.
It's so fun and it gives you that traditional Star Wars element while introducing new things by having them fancified with like extra guns and stuff coming out
Yeah.
of what I think is typically the troop transport area. By the way, Adrian is in the chat. Adrian, hello. I
Hello,
think we're about
sir.
once we get to black, we're about to insult one of your favorites, I think. So I do
I
apologize.
apologize, Adrian. We will have. I will actually have criticism. It's not that I'm just going to just say blah f this. I I have questions that I feel like need answers, but we will talk
Same,
about it.
same.
Um, but like, yeah, you were talking about how uh the uh the AT-ATs have like these like extra like guns, and like I think it has like 8 extra arms that pop out
Yep.
and start blasting at Kurane. Like my jaw literally dropped. I was like, "Oh my god. Like I've never seen this before. This is so cool." And I think that when we are seeing the evolution of Star Wars, like when you look at the prequel trilogy, then you look at the original trilogy, and then you look at the sequel trilogy. In the sequel trilogy, like you see some things updated, but a majority of everything that we see is a brand new product within the Star Wars universe. They don't adapt old tech. I think it would make more sense to adapt old tech. Like, hey, we've spent billions upon billions of credits on these war machines and they are obsolete, so let's just upgrade them. People
Yeah.
do it with vehicles and other machinery in the real world all the time. So I think that it would be interesting that in the next few phases of Star Wars movies that we see, that we do start to see those types of updates. I think that would be really, really fun.
Yeah. I do as well. And I there is reuse within the books. There's
Hmm.
just not any real showcasing of it on screen.
Yeah.
And so I think doing that would not necessarily improve things, but make you understand kind of what's going on versus, hey, we're just going to melt everything down and start over. So,
Yeah. But I know I like fangirled over this, but the magical transformation. What was your reaction? Did you have an eye roll moment? Did you be like, "Hey, this isn't like," because I know that some people probably had this type of reaction of like, "Oh, that's not practical," but again, this is animation. This is a whole new version of Star Wars, so anything is possible. So tell me your reaction with that.
you're talking about armor mode, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I loved armor mode. I did not eye roll. I was like, oh, she turned into a ship. She's an X-wing. Like, and I know she wasn't technically an X-wing, but like armor mode kind of took her into the form of it. It was super cool. I dug it. I think that's something that should be reused because that was awesome.
I think with the with the amount of droids that we see just kind of stand around, I think they should have this type of use. 100%. Um
Now, I will
we
say they could have probably made the blaster sequence a little more realistic. Like, I say realistic, that's not what I mean. Like, when the cable is not plugged in for
mhm,
the blasters to work, I do think she could have gotten away from, like, what do you mean it's broken? Like, oh, we could have said, like, oh, it didn't line up properly or something, because that's a super fast transformation from droid to pieces to ship mode.
yeah.
So we could have gone about that a little bit differently, and maybe the Japanese version of the language kind of iterates that a little bit better, and the English translation didn't make as much sense.
I'll have
Um,
to watch it again. I can't remember the exact verbiage that was used in that sequence. But I somewhat agree. I understand that it could sound a bit lazy or like non-imaginative. Like, oh,
mhm,
it's broken. Like it's just like a very simple way out to like, oh, now Whoopus has to use the force to fix it, you know?
yeah.
Um I think that there could have been some sort of other explanation. to help them connect the dots to get to Whoop is actually using the Force.
Yeah.
Um, and also, it may just be the simple fact of like, hey, we made this animation because like when it comes to the plugin, for one, I think it's so funny that the
It's a
plug,
standard plug.
it looks like a standard plug, like something
I
to
was
like
like,
a
wait,
vacuum.
what?
Like
It would have made more sense if it was like a wiring board or something versus a
exactly,
plug.
but it was specifically like a cord, like a plug that you a power cord.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's that, I think is absolutely hilarious. But again, it's literally like just inches away from the actual plug. So I think that this was a studio move to be like, hey, we don't want to go too crazy with this animation because we just spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars actually transforming her on screen. So let's see how we could make this simple.
Yeah,
Um,
and the plug didn't necessarily bug me. It was the verbiage in, hey, like I'm reiterating kind of like I'm old kind of thing. We could
yeah,
have left that off and gone in a different direction of, hey, we missed it in the transformation kind of thing. So
totally understandable.
it's a nitpick. I love
Yeah.
the episode, but it's a nitpick.
And
And you
from
already said
there,
this, by the way, but Stephanie Shu is the English voice
mhm,
for Karane in this film episode. She does an incredible job. I love it. She felt natural. I was like, hey, I know who this voice actor is, but I can't place her. And as soon as I saw it was Stephanie Shu, I couldn't believe it. Like I felt like the voice she did a very good job transforming herself. So I just wanted to bring that up.
yeah.
Um, Other than that, I love the slingshot. I love the Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis esque sky.
Oh yeah.
Super awesome. I just, they definitely tried to integrate what we see into this episode versus just going completely Star Wars.
Hmm.
I still dig it.
Yeah. I think that's one of my favorite lines. The wait, you know how to use thermal detonators?
Yeah.
Where you just see again this cute fuzzy looking creature grab the thermal detonator that Tortu pulls out, puts it in his slingshot, and just throws it. It's absolutely amazing. Um, but when they destroy the mining facility, it immediately jumps to them in their ship. Which, by the way, I would like to know the uh, the actual ship name or ship model of that because it looks like a miniature Millennium Falcon with like a weird little like arm with it, which I thought was interesting.
There is
Um,
no ship name or starfighter ship model on Wikipedia. So they probably just said I want a cool spaceship.
okay. I dug it. I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah.
It made me do like a double take when I saw the actual shape of it. Um, but then we like again we get this kind of hey, maybe there will be a continuation type of ending, which I really do appreciate with these because it does give hope to not only the fans that kind of fall in love with these episodes, but like, hey, it leaves the relationship open with these studios to be like,
Hmm.
hey, not only is it a possibility that we continue your work, but also we can continue this relationship and work on other things as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I 100% agree. I think that the Ninth Jedi series that's upcoming is a good way for Disney to continue the relationships and continue to build on these stories and figuring out like, hey, is there a possibility we can integrate this
Yeah.
somehow? Um, like I think Bounty Hunters, for instance, could fit perfectly in the prequel era. Like
Oh yeah.
so stuff like that. Yeah.
I think so as well. Uh, but with that, let's unfortunately move to black. Again, this isn't going to be a hey, let's shit on this episode. When we talked about it in our rankings, we mentioned, hey, this genre is just not for us. Totally understandable. It's not our cup of tea. I literally sent a picture of me watching it to Katie right before us recording, and I was like, longest 12 minutes of my life. Because I had to pause it once just to confirm if my like eyes were in fact deceiving me in that one scene where it's like, did a whole bunch of people just have bathing suits on? And yes, they in fact did. I have
Yes.
photo evidence. Um, and so I played it.
One of my questions is literally woman and dude have same tattoo question mark? Like
Well,
I let's do our non-spoiler.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we jump into this fully, small tidbits of spoilers there. Non-spoiler thoughts. One, this was not my cup of tea. I was not for it. On my first watch, I fell asleep. And falling asleep is a harsh, like, phrase. I dozed off, is what happened. Um, so watching it again, I was like, okay, I'm wide awake. I just chugged a soda. I have a little bit of a sugar high. Let's see if my ADHD brain can just stick with this for 12 minutes. It can't be that hard. I looked at my phone twice and I caught myself looking at my phone and I just slammed it down.
Same.
It's hard. Again, this genre has a fan base. The psychedelic music video, like, hey, all of my 90s babies that remember the colorful screensaver when playing music on your dad's computer. Like, everybody knows that screensaver. That's basically what this was. Just with Star Wars characters integrated in it. Um, it was hard for me to, because the more and more, and I don't want to be one of those, oh, I stick my nose up at you, but like
Yeah.
the more and more I get older, I need a little bit of purpose in the entertainment that I consume. Like, there's got to be a reason that I'm consuming this entertainment. Uh, if you guys know us from the GUA, everybody knows that I hate turn your brain off entertainment. I just don't like it. And it's an ongoing joke with our GUA chat, with, of course, Brent, Chris, and David, with Fast and the Furious. Uh, but it's just it's not my cup of tea, and I don't think this is, hey, turn your brain off entertainment. I think you actually have to stay focused and
You
look
do.
at the imagery and try to understand what the story is trying to tell you. And I did. There was parts where I was like literally holding onto my arrow keys and like rewinding because I thought I saw something and like continuing watching it. And that's probably why the 12 minutes took a lot longer. But still, like, it was just too much for me. And I think that it's okay because not everything is going to be for me.
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing probably is the arts and the coloring makes me think zombies. And everybody knows who knows me knows I don't do well with zombies.
I can understand that.
The other thing that I have always had problems with, and again, it's just the genre really, is I'm not huge into silent movies. It takes a lot for me to be actively engaged with something that does not have any words surrounding it. I am one of those people who, if you told me to picture an apple in my brain, I can't do that. Like, Yeah.
Wait, you can't?
No, I
We never
can't.
had this conversation. So wait, whoa, hold your brakes. How do you read books?
Well, like I will like actively look up things and like but like my imagination, I don't remember dreams. Like everything I do is basically writing out things in my brain to like articulate it.
That's wild. I'm sorry.
So
I don't know. I like honestly, I've seen these videos all the time when I'm scrolling through TikTok and Instagram of like, hey, there's people who actually can't imagine these things in their brain. I'm just like, that's not real. You're just trying to get views. And I never knew that Katie was one of these people.
no, yeah. So like because of that, I have a very hard time processing images to like I don't get the metaphors with imagery and like the storytelling aspects. Like I need
Hmm.
words.
That's
So
understandable. Yeah.
silent movies have always been tough for me to understand and so the art and the coloring but also the pacing of this. I'm reading on the Wikipedia page. This scene is 12 minutes and actually has 9 scenes with 9 different animators. Um and it is very fast paced. We are going from one shot to another, and my brain is like, "Hey, can we slow this down? Because I don't understand a lick of what's going on." Like, so, well, I have a question here about my attempt at a summary for what's going on in this episode.
Yeah,
Um,
and then go ahead and ask that question, read that off, and then we can get into kind of spoilers on like what we kind of interpreted with this psychedelic dream.
so like my full interpretation of this short is a guy's life flashing before his eyes as the Death Star blows up, basically. But then I wrote that kind of like most of the way through, but then you get to a part where there's like he's in a TIE fighter and like like is landing on this planet or crash landing something, and I'm like, wait, so is the Death Star like it did I get the Death Star wrong in this? And then the Death Star shows back up and it pings back and forth and I got really confused.
It does ping. It does move all over the place, and the
Oh,
perspectives
that's the other
also.
thing is the fast paced makes me nauseated because of
I
my
was gonna
migraine
ask if it
disorder.
was. Yes, that was one of my biggest questions for you. Because just because I know about your migraines, I wanted to know if this was hard to process because of that. Um,
Yes. Got all of the above with what I said, plus the fast pacedness, just making things disorienting.
yeah. Now, from what I am interpreting through this 12-minute episode, we see the we see a firefight in the very beginning. Then we see a hand-to-hand combat between what is on my third view of this a person fighting himself.
That's what it feels like, which is where, like, because we talked about this last week, where we heard the summary. We heard a summary from somewhere who was like, "This is a Jedi Knight who's stuck in Stormtrooper armor, like trying to defend himself." But then, like, that's not actually what this is.
But at what were 2 minutes and 10 seconds? 2 minutes. Let's see here. I am right here. As soon as the actual camera flips when they are kind of wrestling, you see the floor turn into a like mirror of such,
Mhm.
and it's the stormtrooper and a blue-haired, brown-robed individual.
So maybe that's
This,
why we heard Jedi is because people saw that and were like Jedi? Question mark.
yeah, but we never see the face of this individual. It immediately moves on to a scene where the rebellion is fighting stormtroopers, and then from there It goes on to, again, very dark, a lot of reds and greens. We have this giant hand crawling on the floor, like chasing this person. I have no idea what that was. I felt like I saw something in the background when that was happening, and so I paused it, rewound, watched it. It's himself looking at this giant hand chasing him. So like I this is something I literally need like a dream interpreter to be like, "Hey, what do you think this means?"
I know. Adrian, guys, Adrian has written reviews of every individual Visions episode on butwhythough.com. If you guys want to go check out like full written reviews, he loved this episode. I have not read his review.
I was waiting
Because I
until
wanted to
after
go
tonight
into
so that way we could have our own opinions and not be influenced by anybody. I love you, Adrian.
Correct. Yes.
But
I don't want to hate on this episode anymore because I do think my opinion and your opinion is just mainly in the, hey, we don't enjoy the silent movie aspect, like, and the fast-pacedness.
I did want to mention, because again, I was so confused as when I first watched it. I actually, again, got a quick snap of it on my phone.
Yeah, the bathing suits.
Everybody is just in bathing suits, and then it cuts to the scene where our main character, quote unquote, is sitting in a field, shirtless, with a woman with a white shirt, and they share tattoos. The only thing that I have a problem with these two scenes combined is that it immediately takes me out of the Star Wars universe.
Well, and that's where I was like, okay, life flashing before eyes kind of thing, like before death. Like, I think that makes the most sense here. Mm-hmm. And that's what the overall summary by this short is by David Production. And the official description says a psychedelic battle between past and present, light and dark, and life and death plays out in the haunted psyche of an Imperial trooper who is on the cusp of defeat. To me, that does say life flashing before eyes, which is why we kind of get different elements. They share a tattoo because that was the love of his life. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I think that, I don't know, maybe I just want to see some beach scenes more in Star Wars to make this understandable. I'm not entirely sure.
Beach scenes in Andor.
I mean, and in Rogue One, but
and in Rogue One.
But either way, I am very glad that there are people out there who did enjoy this episode. Because one thing is for sure, I never want to see something thrown into like the Star Wars universe as an actual production and everybody universally hates it, but not giving a real answer to, you know?
Yeah.
We've seen that type of hate before and it was just uncalled for because it was kind of pointless. This, again, we had criticism, not our cup of tea, but there are people who really do enjoy it. And maybe the fact that, you know, I only watched it on my computer and on my TV. Adrian over here got to listen to it on a big screen and surround sound. Maybe we just had the wrong, you know, viewing session for this to not really appreciate it. I'm not entirely sure.
Who knows?
So let's go to our last discussion of the night, that being the Bounty Hunters.
Yes.
Okay, you go first on the non-spoilers because this was your favorite episode of this season.
Yes. So guys, this episode film is by Wit Studio. It's their first iteration into the Visions point of view for Star Wars. But I love this episode with all my heart. And Eva for both personalities is a big part of why the heart of the characters is super awesome. And I particularly love the actions sequences in this episode. Um, I do also appreciate once again that this episode kind of delves on choice versus destiny, even though we do have destiny mentioned in this again. Seven and Eva 4 don't have force capabilities. It's been a blip in their lifetime, and that was it. So the force is kept in the background on the episode, and again, just boils down to, hey, regular people can make big decisions and help the galaxy as a whole. I think it was not to bring politics into this, but I definitely felt life yesterday during election day. I know it's an off year, but it just kind of goes to show you, hey, we had all these turnarounds and everything, and little people in your local elections and local choices do big things. So,
100%. I agree with all of that. You know, we have found that when us particularly are reading books in the Star Wars universe, we gravitate towards a lot of the non-Force users, a lot of the non-Jedi characters.
Because you see yourself in the galaxy.
Yeah, I think that is a big part of it, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that when everybody likes to, pretend when they were a kid to be the superhero and do big things, and as you get older, reality kicks in, and so you're like, how can I relate to this? And not to say that you can't relate to heroes and big characters, because you totally can. But when you're able to relate to a quote unquote non-special character and they do really big things, I feel like that is a lot better of a connection than always being like, oh yeah, I connect to the hero because he's the hero.
Yep.
And so with this, I really dug it. The aspect of the dual personalities. Book is not out yet, but in 6 days there is another book that is coming out. That being Master of Evil.
Which, by the way, Clay and I received physical copies of. So thank you, Random House Worlds. We did get early e-copies as well, but we're always appreciative of getting to put books on our bookshelves. So
yes, very much so. But we have been dealing with multiple personalities recently, and I just think that's a very fun aspect, especially in droids. So seeing it here, was really, really fun.
And I did like this one's even made more special by the fact, and I know I'm cutting in your non-spoiler time, sorry, but I love that he gets a different face for each personality and not just sticking with the same face.
It's a good visual as well as audio cue to show when those personalities are taking over. But like this episode also has a fun little callback to Clone Wars that we discussed when we were ranking this episode. And I think that, again, just having those little things, those small little connections to the entertainment that we already know and love, again, is a piece of that nostalgia that's going to bring you back in. So I really do enjoy that about this episode as well as the big twist of the flashback that's in this episode.
Yeah, I wrote that down, and I think we can dive into spoilers now, right?
Yeah.
The From a Certain Point of View flashback, we start off in that, and actually rewatching that, it really confused Matt for a second. He was like, wait a second, this is not a sequel episode. I thought, like, he thought it was like F for a second. And I was like, no, we've not seen this before. It's just a flashback. Like, and so getting those duality of it, like, obviously the Jedi is there to take out the slavers. But also at the same time, I didn't really notice the collar around Seven's neck in the
Neither
first
did I.
flashback. You do see it, but it's not obvious until that second flashback. And like you see Seven as she realizes that the kids are actually slaves and they have that collar. You can actually see her like rubbing her neck where her collar used to be. And uh, picking up on those in the second and third watches of this episode, I really dug that, and like it's building that connection to Seven's character as a whole.
Yeah. I dug the little nods. Um, I think that when you're watching something in live action, it's very noticeable when you see that type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and in animation, and not saying that people don't have good eyes when they're on their first watch of animation, but to for me personally, when I go back and then notice, oh, this was here all along, I just wasn't paying attention that first time around. I think that's very clever, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I think that's fun.
Yeah, and it's those cues that you get from the first watch, like you don't know to be looking for that in particular in the first flashback scene because it's the opening scene of the short film.
Hmm.
So, uh knowing what to look for I find is also helpful. I definitely found myself wanting to know more about Seven, especially like having Bashan mentioned. Like it sounds like another bounty hunters guild, but also she was trained as a child soldier, so kind of interesting. But then also throwing in a reference to smugglers from Tatooine. I'm like, okay, so is this Han Solo and Chewie? Like, are they hunting her? Kind of
Hmm.
thing. Like
Yeah.
just those little tidbits in there. Um, the voice acting, Jodie Turner Smith is in this, and she is recognizable as, the sister of the Blue Twilight Karen in this episode.
Hmm.
Um, I loved her voice acting. She made it super memorable. Um, and you really go, oh, that's the mother from the Acolyte. Like,
Yeah, like
at
almost
least to
immediately
me.
you could tell. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how do you pronounce Evil Four's actor's name? Ronnie Shang?
Uh, it is Ronnie Shang.
Shang. Uh, super memorable. Like, Evil 4 is my favorite droid of the series. Potentially tied with the one from the Ninth Jedi, Todu. Um, but I love a droid that can make me laugh. And for me, laughter is like probably one of the biggest things for me in if something is memorable or if it's not. And so having that comedic relief in this episode, especially dealing with such a topic as slavery and collection pieces, um, it really helps provide some levity to the episode.
Yeah. I said this when we were ranking these episodes. I'm a really big fan of Ronnie Shang. If anybody has not seen his stand up, um, I think it's readily available on YouTube as well as on
I'm
Netflix.
gonna have to go look it up now.
I highly recommend it. He is absolutely hilarious. He also has a couple spots weekly on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, of course, and other hosts. So, highly recommend watching his stuff. He was also a character in Shang-Chi recently, and I believe another um, Marvel uh, show. It might have been animated. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, I really dug the voice actors as well. Anna, how do you pronounce the last name? Saway,
Oh
um,
gosh, I had it here.
as Seven.
Yes.
I
I
I
think
I,
so.
I think it's Sawe. Let me see if her Wikipedia has a pronunciation breakdown at all. No, cool. Um, um, but if people are not aware, she is famously. I think that she just blew up from this show, and everybody that I've talked to loves this show, and I need to give it a try. Is Shogun. She was on the
Yes.
Hulu FX show Shogun. She was also on Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the Godzilla tie-in uh, show on Apple, as well as, of course, she has been on the uh, in the franchise of Fast and Furious. She was in Fast 9 and uh, 10. So, but yeah, I really dug the the episode overall. The fact that like um, looking at uh, the big corporation, you know, us
Hmm.
in the real world right now are very much learning that whatever billionaires say, it's kind of BS. Oh yeah, I'm here for the people. And then like what I remember distinctively when watching this episode in particular, the very first viewing, when you see the little girl, you know, dropping off the oil and drinks, I was like, that's a slave. And
Hmm.
then like he's talking around it to make it like sound like it's not a slave.
I've rescued her from war. Like I pay her. Like
Yeah, and
I'm
even
sure you
Seven's
also
like,
charge
"Oh,
her
you are
the
so
night away.
generous. Like, oh, you are such a savior, you know?" Um
And it boils down to what Seven ends up is like, hey, like I can make the tough choice or I can which is the right choice, or I can make the choice that works best for me. And at the end of the day, she has to come down to that choice. And it goes back to again, hey, the little people can do big things. Adrian says, I love Star Wars. Remember, slaves exist. Yeah, and that's why I think this one could fit super well within the prequel trilogy as part of what we know Padme has done, for instance.
mhm.
With the Queen's uh series and everything. And I mean it's a big part of unfortunately the world, but it's the legacy of the prequel trilogy. Not legacy, but you know what I mean. It's a
It's
reference point there.
it's
So
you know, it's funny that you kind of say that because I legitimately just saw a video about how on TikTok about how there's apparently a huge amount of people that are uh, saying like, how did Star Wars get so political? Um, and
Star Wars has always been political. I have
and
this argument
that
with
was the
my
point of the
mom.
video, and that was the point of the video, and the person on the video was saying like, hey, I understood this as a 7-year old, so let me break it down to you. And they broke down how like in Phantom Menace, like how Palpatine from the beginning was kind of already the bad guy for, you know, keeping like Naboo in the state that it was, and how all of the political climate kind of peaked, and somehow, again, it literally happened in our own politics, so I can't be too baffled. Like, they elected him, you know? And he replaced the guy that totally goofed. So, I've been using that word a lot lately, goofed. But yeah, it's just it's so funny how, you know, the comment that you know, oh, I love when Star Wars remembers slaves exist. Like, this has always been a mirror to our society. And
No.
hey, like, this is stuff that actually happens. Star Wars has always been political. And to remind people of this, I think is super important, especially in the year of 2025 right now.
Yeah,
Um,
and like and it goes back to me like struggling with imagery and everything. Like I didn't understand Star Wars was political really until I started this podcast and like diving more deep into the history and everything. Like it totally makes sense. Um that Star Wars has always been political and will continue to be political. Art is political at the end
yes.
of the day. Adrian says Seven did more for slaves than Qui-Gon Jinn did. Yes.
Oof.
That is accurate. And Adrian says, request to join part 2 when y'all talk about Black. Adrian, we kind of already did, but we will have you back on to talk about Black.
Yes.
We, guys, we broke this down into our top episodes and our least favorite with this one. Next week, we will talk about the remaining, or not next week, the week after. The plan is to talk about the remaining 3 episodes that are not sequels. So that would be, oh gosh, I took my Wikipedia link down. It's Bird of Paradise, Yuko's Treasure, and
The Smuggler.
The Smuggler.
Yes.
But Adrian, you come back in 2 weeks and we'll talk about Black with you. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. And making some lovely but always accurate comments. It's always political when you're brown. It's 100% a factual thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Adrian, of course, you are always invited to join us on these breakdowns on these episodes. Anytime you want to jump in, just let us know. We will drop you an invite. 100%.
And guys, for the record, so next week we are not going to be live. We're going to have Vector Prime, which is the first episode in our Patreon series for you guys. I'm having surgery on Friday, and I'm just going to kind of take the week to recover. And then so the following week will be Visions Part 2. And then obviously Thanksgiving is the last week of November. We will not be live that Wednesday. Instead, we're recording our thoughts on the sequel episodes of Visions Volume 3 that Sunday. And then that episode will be live for you guys on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, for you guys to check out. So I'll send you a message, Adrian. He says, full disclosure, I have a 3 p.m. alarm set on Wednesdays to remind me to hit y'all up, but I'm shy. We'll get you. We'll get you.
I think from now on, I should just throw you the invite, and if you want to join, you just join. How about that?
I think that works too. So
awesome.
But was there anything else? Oh, I love that we have a Dank Farrik reference. I love when Star Wars curses and we have Star Wars curse words. Don't laugh at me, okay?
I want to know more Star Wars curse words. I have also this I didn't write any notes this session, but in my first viewing, because I don't think this is the last episode that uses curse words in the Star Wars universe, but I did write a mental note of how many curse words are in the Star Wars universe. I know there's like Sith spit, there's Dank Farrik, there's Criff. I need to know more.
All right, so here's a Looper article.
Okay.
From last year. So we have Echuta, which is a Huttese cuss word.
Mm-hmm.
Karabast from Rebels, technically.
Yes.
Criff is definitely more Star Wars Legends, but I do believe Keeve said it in the High Republic comic series.
Yes.
And then Crick is another one that they have on here. They don't have Dank Farrik, so I don't think this is everything.
Now, I do want to say something that has been kind of an actual point of like conversation and debate online. Um, there is an ongoing joke, and I think people took it a little too far. That in the Jedi Survivor series, Cal Kestis calls uh, droids clankers. Um, and there has been online debate on whether that is a slur or not. And people are saying or debating that it's not a slur, but when real life people are using that phrase to mean something bad, that's when you are pushing it to be an actual slur. But when you're calling droids clankers, I just don't think it's a legitimate slur.
I feel like Clone Wars used that, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Adrian says, "Does Sarek's blade count?" I don't understand that reference.
I don't understand that reference either.
So when we have droids like Bones, it's a slur. When we have droids like Bones, it's a slur. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I could totally see that. Droid spirit. I sent you a list of phrases and slangs list from Wikipedia
cool.
in the private chat. Sarek's blade is not on there, so I'm gonna have to look
that tab
up.
over here so I can look at it later. Cool.
But yeah, I love when Star Wars curses. Also had to point out the amount of aliens in this episode. Super cool.
Yes, I think that all of the runaways are in fact alien.
I do believe so too. Yes.
Let's see here, because there's a point where she has them in the handcuffs here. Yeah, every single one of these is an alien, which I do appreciate.
Yeah. And Adrian says, "Look at Visions. Imagine calling any of the droids in Volume 3 Clanker." I could not.
Could not. Never. I love every single droid in this series.
Yes. So guys, I did have one final question for you on this. So at the beginning of the episode, Seven is wearing a face mask and it moves with her. It's not like a medical face mask. It just feels like part of her repertoire. As a bounty hunter, mercenary type person. At the end of the episode, the mask is shot off her face and broken. Why do you think Seven wears the mask in this? And if we were to see a part 2, would the mask return?
So I'm trying to get... Okay, so one thing that I did notice, I think it's more so on purpose. Her hairstyle. She has 3 like bangs, very large bangs. One of which covers her scar almost perfectly. Yes. And you only see it when the camera angle is perfect to where you can see just the edging of it. So I think there is a lot of her she is trying to hide. I think that this is more so like imagery of, hey, I am a bounty hunter. I am doing these things for money, and the less people see my face, the better, type of ordeal. And yes, Adrian literally took the words right out of my mouth. When the evolution of the character from the beginning to the end, she no longer has that mask. She has found herself. She is a new individual. And even when you hear the way she talks about the Jedi, that again, we see from a certain point of view, flashback, second part of, we see that the Jedi helped her. And the way she references the Jedi when they are running away at the very end, you don't know if that is a playful, like, oh, I'm really gonna, teach her a thing or two, or like, hey, we need to really have a big discussion because you've changed my life for the worse or for the good, type of thing. So I do think that if we were to get a sequel to this, comic, book, whatever, if we see a mask, it will only be for show and it will not be all the time. Whereas here, it was all the time because it is the imagery of like, hey, I don't need that mask anymore.
I would agree. And for those listening, Adrian had said, to kind of summarize what Clint has both thoughts are, a villain who takes off the mask to find her true self, no longer hiding. And then he did also say, I am glad it wasn't scars and such. Yes, I do appreciate this. You don't have to wear a mask to cover scars.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm really glad it wasn't that as well. He also said 6 out of the 9 shorts featured women as the main characters. I did not realize this. I think I put this together in my brain, but yes, this is accurate, and I love this. The Force is female.
Is that a reoccurring thing for Visions? Because looking at volume 2, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 9 also. And then when you look at volume 1, 1, 2, 3. So it's not so much on season 1, but season 2 and season 3 are on par with making female leads for each episode, which I really do appreciate.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like one thing that we have been saying more often than not with these Visions episodes, if Disney and Lucasfilm don't want to push for another high production animated sequel on these, they should talk to the production about collaborating with somebody like Viz Media or Kandasha or these other manga publishers to make sequels of their stories.
Yes, 100%. And I do think with the High Republic partnership that happened, the original manga that we're getting, it comes out next week, guys. The Path of the Lightsaber, I think is what it's called. I do think there's more opportunities for mangas, especially with the Visions manga we're getting next summer as well. So I'd love to see it happen. I think there's a lot of episodes in this volume 3 that could go that route and really expand upon things. The one thing I would say is if you're going to do a sequel or a continuation of these stories in some way, it needs to be more respected than Ronin was for the duel. But we'll talk about that in 3 weeks more with the duel payback.
Yes, 100%.
And Adrian says his rankings for the volumes, volume 2 over volume 1 over volume 3. I would agree with that.
Okay, so. Yeah.
Adrian says Ronan's so mid. Dude.
The novel? Hold on. Okay.
We'll have to take this discussion offline.
Yeah, Adrian, you're going to have to join us in 3 weeks talking about... Because, for one thing that we said, this isn't a spoiler, for our rankings, Payback was not our favorite.
Okay, he said the sequel in the volume 3. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We're cool. Yeah. Again, we had a small discussion on Threads about this because he had mentioned that, like, hey, this sequel on volume 3 did not hit as hard as I would think it, and for one, this was another one of those marketing tools that they were using. Like, hey, this is the sequel to the hit episode in volume 1. you would think that it would hit a lot harder, and it just didn't.
Uh-huh.
So we will talk about that in 3 weeks.
Again, we'll talk about that. You'll have to just come for part 2 and part 3, Adrian. Clay, where can they find you?
Of course, you can always find me at Fanboy Clay on any and all social media. Um, Currently, Ranger Alliance is, may I say, in limbo. Unfortunately, it's really weird because we moved from Power Rangers to Sentai, and unfortunately, just like schedules have been kind of out of whack, and so we haven't had time to record the last episode. But the newest episode is coming out this week. We're gonna do a double review on that one episode. But guys, if you haven't heard, Sentai as a franchise is in limbo, they say. And so we will be discussing that on the next episode, and what this means for the franchise, how we're going to move forward. We're going to talk about some rumors that have been circulating online about it. I think it'll be a very fun discussion. So don't miss out on the next episode of Ranger Alliance. Katie, what about you?
Y'all, you can find me on most social media platforms as at Slice of Katie. Remember, I will get back to you if I don't get back to you immediately. I promise. I'm trying with social media, guys. I really am trying. This show. Oh, that's not the right banner. You can find us on Blue Sky and Instagram and Threads. It's at Star Wars Alliance with no A in the wars. Very important. Don't forget it. If you are not a social media person, you can shoot us an email, Star Wars Alliance, no A in the wars, at gmail.com. And just remember, give us a nickname, some way to address you guys, so we can reference you guys on the show. Adrian does say, all right, guys, he'll be here for 3 too. So
Awesome.
With that, guys, I want to wish everyone a great day or night, whatever time of day you're listening or watching, and we will see y'all next time. May the Force be with you.